The top is the tower, that is a radiant triangle. Then you have Bruton Church with the golden radiant triangle in it. And then you have Hornblotten Church with its ornate floor and the circle in the middle. They're all in a line, and then you go through the circle in the middle of Hornblotten Church, and you're back into the Glastonbury Zodiac, which is the secret below. So Catherine Maltwood was spilling the beans of stuff that was going on in the landscape before she moved here. Hornblotten Church predates her by about 40 years. The very cover of her book, the writing is deliberately an equilateral triangle pointing to the center point of a circle. That's the whole layout we just looked at. This line, like the Michael line, spreads across the country. The Stourhead complex is to do with Hercules. There's a temple of Hercules there, 12 labours of Hercules. It's the sun going through 12 different signs of the zodiac. This Holy Royal Arch line goes all the way to Heartland, where in Roman times it was known as the promontory of Hercules, and it goes all the way to Canterbury Cathedral, which has medieval zodiac signs on it. Catherine Maltwood isn't just this Glastonbury zodiac. She's the Michael line, she's the Somerset diamond of Michael churches, she's this Holy Royal Arch Melkarth line. It's never really about 12 signs of the zodiac. It is about a star map. Here's one of her sculptures. This is at Chiltern Priory. Just draw your attention to the lower part. Because it's stylized, it looks like a royal archway with a sacred treasure inside, the chalice. This is her statue for Avalon, and it looks like Glastonbury Tor, but the whole mythology of the Freemasons and the Royal Arch is to dig down below, take the capstone away so that light shines in to the vault down below. So although this is Glastonbury Tor, it's also an archway with a capstone missing. And you can see down to where the radiant light is, treasure inside, or the grail inside, which will lead on to a little bit of star lore for you. On the horizontal plane is the circle of the Royal Star Cross. You can see there's an equilateral cross. Further away is Antares, closer towards us is Aldebaran, that's Scorpio Taurus, spring equinox alignment. Now the Milky Way hoops around that, pretty much coming in at Regulus for Leo and going off towards Aquarius and Fomalhaut. This is a fixed thing. You have the Royal Star Cross and you have the Milky Way itself. Always, by Regulus on the far right, the Royal Star of Leo, there's a constellation called Crater. The Crater is the chalice, or the heavenly cup, the heavenly grail, is always related to Leo the lion. Even in Christian mythology, wherever there's a crucifixion, this is a Saxon one from England. Ignore the fact that it's a cruciform, think of it as a royal star cross, and if you put Leo at the bottom, as other mystery traditions do, and if you have Leo at the bottom, then you have Crater the chalice collecting the blood from the Messiah on the cross. The constellation of the chalice is there. It's old star lore. This is Mithras making a sacrificial slaughter of the bull. Above him are the arch, the heavenly arch, the royal arch of the zodiac. Below Mithras himself is a little lion, Leo, and Crater the wine cup, ready to catch the blood for the sacrament. So this heavenly chalice with Leo is an old mystery school thing absorbed into Christianity, but it goes back to other cultures around the world because it's just fixed star law. Leo governs the heart. Different zodiac signs represent different parts of the body. So like Aries is the head and Pisces is the feet. The genitals are Scorpio. Leo, the lion, is the heart. On this figure with the zodiac all around, you can see on his chest there's a lion's head. It's acknowledging this Leo governing the heart thing. But if Leo is there, so also is the grail. So the heavenly chalice or the grail is in your heart. It's there with your Leo. Can't be anywhere else. Catherine Maltwood's own sculpture, she did this sculpture and she called it the Holy Grail. And she's fully aware that Leo is the heart. And she's saying the Holy Grail is the constellation that's within you. In Chalice Well, the lid of Chalice Well, designed by Frederick Bly Bond, is so deliberately done so that Leo and Crater are in the south when the lid is closed, and the Chalice Well waters flow south towards Leo and Crater. Bly Bond was a friend of Catherine Maltwood and Dion Fortune's, famous for talking to the dead monks of Glastonbury Abbey to do his archaeology there, but he was a mystic, occultist, Freemason, all the rest of it. He designed the famous Vesica Pisces well lid for Chalice Well. Before that, this was the design. This illustration comes from 1918. It was for a book of poems by Alice Buckton, who looked after Chalice Well at the time. Now, if you look very carefully, behind the figure, there's the zodiac signs in the circle. At the very top is Leo, but the lid is open. With the lid shut, nuts. Then Leo is down, with crater down for the flowing of the blood or the water into the heavenly chalice. On the woman's chest is Aquarius, because we're coming into the age of Aquarius. The point is, here you've got a zodiac around a well, and Alice Buckton talking about Chalice Well being the Aquarian well in 1918. Catherine Maltwood didn't say Glastonbury was Aquarius with a zodiac until 1935. So the idea that Catherine Maltwood invented this stuff, no, she's part of this British secret tradition that Alice Buckton, Frederick Bligh Bond, Dion Fortune and other people were working with. They were already working with the heavens or the stars on the ground. Now in 1936, the year after Catherine Maltwood did her first book, Dion Fortune wrote a novel called The Goatfoot God. And in that novel, she talks about power lines and places of power. And she gives us this in 1936, the Triangle of Michael, which is St Michael's Mount in Cornwall, Glastonbury Tor, and Mont Saint-Michel on the border between Brittany and Normandy. She goes into quite a bit of detail about the significance of this Triangle of Michael. Of course, one side of it is Glastonbury Tor to St Michael's Mount. That's our John Michel Michael line. It was already described in The Goatfoot God in 1936. St Michael's Mount through Glastonbury, through Avebury is written about in The Sun and the Serpent by Paul Broadhurst, Hamish Miller. The other line from St Michael's Mount to Mont Saint-Michel is in their second book, The Dance of the Dragon. It actually goes up to Skellig Michael in Ireland, which was famous last year because it's where Luke Skywalker was waiting at the end of the Star Wars film, was Skellig Michael on that Michael line. And that one goes right down through Mont Saint-Michel to Italy and onwards. The whole Michael cult with the Benedictine order begins in Italy. But there's a third line. St Michael's Mount to Glastonbury is our Michael line. St Michael's Mount to Mont Saint-Michel is Apollo Axis line. But there's also Mont Saint-Michel through Glastonbury, the Excalibur line. It goes from Mont Saint-Michel to Glastonbury, goes through Portland, through Maiden Castle, Glastonbury Tor, Caerleon, Lake Bala, kisses the Isle of Man and finishes at Callanish on the Isle of Lewis. So all three sides of this triangle do significant things and go to significant places, and Dion Fortune knew about it in 1936. She also describes this. There's an upside-down cross, if you look at the map. In the far north is Lindisfarne. In the far south is St Albans Head. In the west is Tintagel, and in the east is St Albans. So you've got St Albans Head and St Albans, and then Tintagel and Lindisfarne. And she draws a cross with this, and they cross at Avebury. And in her book, The Goatfoot God, she says all the main power sites go to Avebury, and Avebury is the hub of all the things. So here, from her one book, The Goatfoot God, you've got the Michael line and her Lindisfarne, St Albans Head line meeting at Avebury. But this Lindisfarne line that comes down through Avebury to St Albans Head also goes right into the heart of the island of Jersey, inside the triangle. Visiting Jersey a lot last year. In their library, they're quite open about their Freemasonry. I found this book. On the back cover is the map of Jersey, and they're emphasising the centre point between the compass. Of course, I'm now aware that Dion Fortune's line goes to the very heart of this island. On their money, this is a Jersey £5 note. The top right-hand corner, you can see the island and a circle at the dead centre, and energy radiating out from the centre point. Now, that's Dion Fortune's Lindisfarne, Avebury, St Albans Head line and stuff.